Hello everyone, I Dr. Mukta Nagpurkar from Department of Biotechnology. This video covers two modules from the syllabus of generic IKS, Vedic period, that is Vedas and their significance, and Upanishad, that is philosophy and knowledge. Before going to see Vedas, we will see Chaturdasha Vidyasthana, that is Vedic literature is systematically organized in 14 major divisions. Those are Vedas, Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved and Atharvaved. Vedangas, that is Shiksha, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Chanda, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Purana, 18 Puranas are there, Dharmashastra, Nyaya and Mimamsa. If we consider ancient timeline, then Vedic period is circa 1500 to 600 BCE, that is before Common Era. It is after Harappa civilization and before the rise of Mahajanapadas. Term Veda signifies knowledge. It is derived from the Sanskrit root verb vida, means to know. It also means to exist, to discriminate, to obtain and to make known. Vedas are primordial source of knowledge. They are also called as Shruti, that means heard by seers. The Vedas are apaurushaya, that is they are from non-human source. They are orally passed down across generations through oral tradition, that is Maukhik Parampara or Guru Shishya Parampara. In oral tradition, the entire knowledge is committed to one's memory, and that is why it has to be specific and concise. Vedas provide framework for the living. Vedas are transmitted and presented intact from time immemorial. It is recognized by UNESCO as heritage. Vedas have well-developed system of phonetics to ensure its preservation. Values, principles and practices for gainful and happy life are provided by Vedas. Vedas are fountainhead of Indian culture and human civilization. Vedas are unique repository of the knowledge. Vedic literature is divided in Ved, Vedanga and Vedanta. We are going to see all these three concepts individually in this video. Vedatrayi, Rigved, Yajurved and Samaved. Earlier there were these three Ved and those were called as Vedatrayi. Later, Sage Vyas organized Vedas in 4 major divisions and further he passed them down to his 4 disciples, Rigved to Paila, Yajurved to Vaishampayan, Samaved to Jaimini and Atharvaved to Sumantu. That is why this 4th Ved, when added in the Veda structure, it is called as Veda Chatushtayi. So Vedatrayi means Rigved, Yajurved and Samaved. Later Atharvaved was added and that is why it became Veda Chatushtayi. Rigved focuses on prayers to deities. Yajurved deals with mantras used for sacrificial rituals and Samaved is foundation of Indian music. Atharvaved has different ideas and themes. We are going to see each of these Veda separately later. Each Ved is divided further into Samhita, that is core text or main portion with certain number of mantras, Brahmanas, that is collection of knowledge, and Aranyakas. Aranyakas are philosophical approach to rituals, explanation of symbolism, and daily course like breathing and eating can be looked upon with divine approach. Due to its philosophical nature, Aranyakas are supposed to be learned from Guru in a secluded place far away from human dwellings or clouded places of livings, suggestively a forest. Sanskrit word for forest is Aranya and that is why the name Aranyaka. The 4th division in the Vedic structure of each Ved is Upanishad. We are going to see in the second module details of Upanishad. Aranyakas are considered as link between Veda and Vedanta, that is Upanishad. 5 essentials of Vedas: mantra, chanda, sukta, rishi and devata. Mantra means to think with concentration, analyze and reach conclusions. Mantras are typically presented as poetry and they are constructed in particular chandas. Each chanda has fixed number of letters. Each mantra is dedicated to specific deity or subjects. The famous mantras which are famous meters which are used in different mantras for Rigveda are Gayatri mantra, Jagati and Trishtubha. Chandas, they originate from the word chada, means to cover or to conceal. Sukta. Sukta is collection of selected mantras on same subject meter and rishi. Rishis are seers. They just haven't constructed the Vedas but they have seen Vedas. Various devata, those are mentioned in Rigveda: Varuna, that is Rutapa, Indra, warrior god, Agni, representing fire, and Ushas, that is the dawn. There is a famous quote from Rigveda, first mandala of Rigveda, that is Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti. It is a thought of unity through diversity. Truth is one and wise men tell it in various forms. Even there are some famous shlok or stotra from Rigveda. For example, Om Bhur Swaha, which is called as Gayatri mantra. It is framed in praise of the sun. That is why it is called Savitri mantra. But as it is framed in the Gayatri meter or chanda, it is called as Gayatri mantra. Even the Mahamrutyunjay mantra, which is a famous one, it is also from Rigveda. Rigveda is the oldest and largest repository. Ruk means hymn. Ruks are said to sing, they are called as samas. Yajus are sacrificial formula. Sanskrit root for Yajurved is Yaja, that is worship associated with sacrifice. Mantras in Yajurved are called Yajus. Samaved has Sanskrit root Sama, that is to please, to pacify or to satisfy. Samaved is the shortest of all 4 Vedas. Mantras in Rigveda are sung in Samaved and mantras in Samaved are called Samas. Atharva Ved has roots from Atharvan, from the verb Atharvan, that is being multifaceted in nature, the one who brings wellness, and it is organized by the sage Atharvan. Various issues they are addressed in Vedas like origin of human beings, purpose of life, prayers for prosperity and peace, not only for humans but for all the living beings and universe. For example, in Shanti Sukta of Atharva Ved has prayers to bless 2-legged, 4-legged, 8-legged and 9-legged creatures for peace and prosperity on the earth, interspace and space. It indicates vastness of appeal, degree of inclusivity in thinking, oneness of thought and purpose in Vedic people. Structure of Rigveda is in the form of mandala, sukta and ruchas. Patterns of pronunciation used in Rigveda are udatta, elevated pitch, anudatta, lowered pitch and swarita, that is mixture of both. If we see the difference between Yajurveda and Rigveda, Rigveda is composed in chanda for praising gods. Yajurveda, the mantras are for various sacrificial acts and it is in Gadya. Rutvija, that is priests, for various activities done in Veda. So, priest or Rutvija associated with each Veda. Rutvija associated with Rigveda is called Hotru or Hota. Priest of Yajurveda is called as Adhvaryu. Priest of Samaveda is called Udgatru or Udgata. Priest of Atharva Veda is called Brahman. This is arrangement or organization of Rigveda Samhita in mandalas, mantra and suktas. Next we are moving to Yajurveda. Yajna can be described as systematic worship. Mantras used in Yajna can be sourced from Rigveda or Yajurveda. There are many topics, subjects which are covered in Yajurveda. For example, in Yajurveda there is a definition of prayer or ritual. A prayer or a ritual is an instrument devised by humans for the purpose to reach the deities and desires. In Yajurveda, there are numbers from 1 till Parardha, those are mentioned. Parardha is 10 raised to 14. Various metals, those are mentioned in Yajurveda. Hiranya, that is gold. Sisa, that is lead. Rajata, that is silver. Shama, that is iron. And Loha, that is copper. Even various professions of animal husbandry, those are mentioned. For example, Ashvapa, stable boy. Gopala, cowherd. Different occupations like ironsmith, karmara, ishukara, manikara. Manikara is gemologist. Ishukara is expert in making arrows. Ganaka, that is mathematician. Merchant, that is vanika. Those are mentioned. Even some occupations which are specially for women, those are mentioned. For example, Anjanakari, preparing kajal, and Koshakari, that is the one who prepares covers for the weapon. Occupations specially designed for women, those are also mentioned in Yajurveda. That is Anjanakari, preparing kajal, and Koshakari, that is preparing covers for the weapons. Samaved, Vedas, Veda of Samans, Veda of mantras with melodies. It is considered as origin of Indian music. Samaved has two different aspects. The divine aspect refers to Saman in sacrifices, whereas creative aspect reflects on the musical elements. Saman, Sa plus that is Rik plus Swara, that is mantra of Rigveda and musical note. So Sama is Rik, that is hymn or mantra in Rigveda, which is composed with musical notes or Swara. 7 notes or sound which are mentioned, which are observed in nature, those are mentioned in Naradiya Shiksha in Samaved. Peacock, Shadja, Kaku, Panchama, elephant, Nishada. 7 Swara of Naradiya Shiksha, those are mentioned in Samaved. Pratham, Madhyama Ma, Saptama Pa, that is Panchama, Dvitiya Gandhara Ga. Concept of Gatra Veena is also discussed in Samaved. That is, human body is considered as musical instrument, and various swara, they are mentioned on digits of fingers. Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda has 2 types of mantras. Shantika mantras, mantras to bring peace. Paustika mantras, mantras to bring prosperity and growth. Day-to-day challenges, they are also mentioned in Atharva Veda, like agriculture difficulties, cattle rearing. Diseases mentioned in Atharva Veda, like Takman, a fever. Rajakshma, that is tuberculosis. Kshetriya, that is genetic disease. Political terms or thoughts which are mentioned in Atharva Veda, like Janapada, Mahajanapada, Rajya, Rashtra, Grama. Even in Rajasamvarna Sukta, there is mention about how a king should be chosen and how a king should behave. As I mentioned earlier, Atharva Veda has many themes and ideas. So, they are collected depending on their type or theme. So, Bhaishajjani, that is mantras to refer to various medicines for different diseases. Ayushani, mantras for long life. Rajakarmani, mantras for political notion of Vedic times. This is summary of all the 4 Veda. Different Upanishads associated with Veda, those are also mentioned. For example, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad associated with Shukla Yajurveda, Chandogya Upanishad associated with Samaved, Atreya Upanishad associated with Rigveda. We are going to see Upanishad in second module. As I mentioned earlier, Vedic literature is composed of 3 parts: Veda, Vedanga and Vedanta. Till now we are done with Veda, that is first part. Now we are moving to the next part, that is Vedanga. In earlier times, Vedic language was easy to recite and understand. With time, naturally changes occurred in spoken languages and it slowly drifted from the Vedic language. So people needed support to read and comprehend Vedic text. Vedic text is important to be preserved in original form. Specific body of knowledge, practices, tools and techniques were created to preserve Vedas and use them appropriately. Later, these practices, tools and techniques, they became integral part of Vedic literature and hence they are called as limbs of Vedas, that is Vedangas. Vedic texts were oral in nature. They have to be preserved in original form and hence listening to sounds properly and reproducing those in the same way as they are heard is very important. Words, sentences of text, they have to be understood without any ambiguity. Later we are going to see one example where the same word can be used with different contexts with different meanings. Meters to which mantras are set had to be systematically understood and followed the rule very properly, specifically. So there is a need of a complete guide to lead a life as prescribed in Vedas. Without any ambiguity, practices and norms for various activities have to be performed. Vedangas provide a properly structured set of instructions to perform rituals as prescribed in Vedas. Vedangas are complementary tools and skills to understand the meaning of Vedas and the intent of what is presented, different ideas in Vedas. So if Veda is considered as human body, then Chanda means feet, Kalpa means hand, Jyotisha means eyes, Nirukta means ears, Shiksha is nose and Vakrana means face. Now, role of each of this limb or each of this Vedanga is important. For oral preservation, phonetics and pronunciation is very important, that is why Shiksha. For presenting knowledge, grammar, that is Vakrana is required. Without any corruptions, there should be presentation of knowledge, so for that rules are required, that is Chandas. To ensure the correct meaning, synonyms and etymology is important, which is mentioned in Nirukta. Establishing norms and rules and practices is important, that is why manual, that is Kalpa, is required. Methodology for timing is important, that is mentioned in Jyotisha. This is the example where the word go, it has different meaning in different context. Now, the clear meaning of go is cow, but it is from the Sanskrit verb gam, means to move or to go. Further, this root is modified as go. Go means to move. So, go is the word which is used for cow because it is moving, it goes away from the village for grazing. It is also used for earth because it is moving, and it is also used for sun. Although it is not moving, with the context of sunrise and sunset in two different directions, it is used for sun as well. That is why without knowledge of Nirukta, it is misleading to translate the Vedic corpus in any language like English or any other foreign language. Next, module 2, that is Upanishad, philosophy and knowledge. As we have seen, Vedic literature has 3 parts. Veda, we are done with. Vedanga, we have recently seen, and now we are moving to the next and the last part of the Vedic literature, that is Vedanta. Anta means conclusion. So, Anta of Vedas, that is Vedanta, that is Upanishad. Upanishad impart knowledge. Upanishad are thoughts of seers expressed in group of compositions. These are philosophical treatises. Upanishad is about sitting near the Guru and receiving his wisdom through teaching learning process. So, the verbal root sad, 2 prefixes upa and ni. It has different approaches to impart the knowledge. For example, in Prashna Upanishad, teachings are organized in 6 questions. In Katha Upanishad, there is a story of a boy, Nachiket, and his journey to know the truth about death and immortality. There is a famous quote, that is Satyameva Jayate. It is from Manduka Upanishad. In Upanishad, there is a relationship between Jiva, living being, Jagat, universe, and Iswara, that is driving force at play. In Upanishad, there are concepts or elements like Brahman and Atman, and these are connected to Jagat and Jiv. Brahman is the whole. It is the total existence of both creator and creation. It is the ultimate reality. Atman, it is self within. It is same as Brahman and as the true nature of individual soul. Jagat is the world. It is manifestation of Brahman and the entire universe with all its diversity. Jiva is the individual experience and it is the individual soul or Atman that is seen through the limited lens of body and mind. So Upanishad, they are speculations, that is dialogue between guru and disciples. In Upanishad, Panchamahabhuta are mentioned, that is Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu, Akash. Consciousness to which life has been created, that is Brahman. Jiva is expression of consciousness. As I mentioned earlier as well, Aranyaka, that is the third division of each Veda apart from Samhita and Brahmana, is also having philosophical nature. So after that we'll move to the fourth division of each Veda, that is Upanishad. So Aranyakas, they are considered as link between Veda and Upanishad, that is link between Veda and Vedanta. Plants, that is Aushadhi, originate from the earth and then it is created or it is converted to Anna, that is food. This is the concept mentioned in Upanishad. Anna creates Purusha, that is Jeev. Here meaning of Purusha is Jeev, that is living organism. Jeev is connected to Atman and Atma Tattva is Brahma and Jagat. As I mentioned, essentials of Upanishad are Jiva, Jagat, Iswara. Essential elements also include Brahman, Atman and their correlation with Jagat and Jiva. There are some special famous quotes from Upanishad like Aham Brahmasi, Tattvamasi. Each Ved has certain number of Upanishad. For example, Rigved has 10 Upanishad, Atharva Ved has 31 Upanishad and total there are 108 Upanishad. Jagat is completed action of creation. Brahman is the cause, Jagat is the result. So that is why cause and result relationship is also mentioned in Upanishad. There are 10 Upanishad, those are mentioned, or those are studied. Ishavasya, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Manduka, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Atreya, Chandogya and Brihadaranyak. Two types of Vidyas, Para, Apara, those are mentioned in Manduka Upanishad. The very famous method of meditation, that is Om, Upasana of Omkar, Um or Om. It is mentioned in Manduka Upanishad. The concept of Panchakosha is mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad. Food technology from Vedic point of view is mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad. As I mentioned, some famous quotes from the Upanishad. Tejasvina vaditamastu, it is from Katha Upanishad. Atithi devo bhava, matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava, acharya devo bhava. These are the quote from Taittiriya Upanishad. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Now 10 Upanishad we'll see in brief. Isha Upanishad focuses on omnipresence of Brahman. Kena Upanishad explores nature of spiritual knowledge and mind's ability to grasp Brahman. Katha Upanishad talks about soul's journey through the story of a boy Nachiket and his dialogue with the Yama. Prashna Upanishad presents philosophical questions about soul, prana, that is life force, and the path of liberation. Manduka Upanishad emphasizes on importance of knowledge to attain Brahman. Mandukya Upanishad talks about 4 types of consciousness. Taittiriya Upanishad explores concepts of Brahman and its journey and nature of existence through layered shits, that is Panchakosha. Annamaya Kosha is one of those kosha. Taittiriya Atreya Upanishad explains origin and nature of individual soul and its place in the universe. Chandogya Upanishad, a very famous quote, Tattvamasi, you are that. It is from the Chandogya Upanishad. It contains vast array of teachings, including identity about Atman and Brahman. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is the longest one, it is the most significant amongst the Upanishad. It offers deep insights into the nature of Brahman, as well as it discusses various topics like marriage and death. These are the sources, books and research papers from which the study material is collected to develop this video. Thank you for your patience.